what do I think about gold and silver not reacting the way that they should? It's frustrating, but I take solace in seeing the acquisition by the most sophisticated traders on the planet using the suppression of the paper price and the rhetoric that is typically anti-metals, anti-gold, and pro-equities. I use that information to give me continued optimism in the respect that if price were an indication of value, then why is the biggest money in the world accumulating gold and silver? Why are the central banks buying more than at any time in history? To me, what gold and silver represent is the antithesis to the system. They have to step on it best they can, but the problem is in a world where everyone is no longer a fan of the US, where they question, is this really the country that we always wanted to be a part of? I think this has a big picture, and I think the rest of the world is no longer as enamored with the United States as they once were. And that's why you're seeing such a concerted effort, I think, to suppress gold and silver, because it really is. If gold and silver go higher, it signals that the dollar and the Western system is in very big trouble. So you want to make it appear as though everything's okay, step on gold and silver. But what's interesting is that as they step on it, the rest of the world is sitting there with open hands saying, oh, well, we'll take delivery then at that stepped on, suppressed make-believe price. This will end at some point. And it will end in a form, I use the term a lot, logarithmic decay, which is, it's like going down the river towards Niagara Falls. And even though you don't know the falls are coming, you start to move a little faster, more downhill, and bang, all at once. How close are we to the falls, whether it be with the dollar, whether it be socially or politically, and what are the ramifications in the end? Bix, when you see the biggest money in the world using with great sophistication the rigged markets to position in gold and silver without anyone noticing, to me, that gives me optimism. When you realize that we have no strategic stockpile of silver, that it is needed copiously, not just in industrial and monetary applications, but also in military applications, the need for it should be a not a industrial metal, but a strategic metal. Maybe the U.S. government is stockpiling silver. I know you think about that a lot. It makes me believe they are. It makes me believe totally that price is a tool of misdirection. So if you understand that price is a tool of misdirection and don't focus on the annoying shorting of it, the counterintuitive nature of it, but why? Why are they doing it? And then you throw into it the fact that last year they made like 14 million silver eagles. This year, even with the doubling of production, they'll be likely to make 14 million silver eagles, which would be about 25% of what they have the capacity of doing. Where's the rest of it going? Yes, it's frustrating, but there is a bigger plan for gold and silver. And those people that are able to hang on and see the fundamentals for what they are, rather than the price that is used to misdirect. I mean, look at even the most sophisticated money managers in the world get constantly fleeced by price. They're ignoring fundamentals, and they get fleeced by the commercial banks every single time. And you're right, they are net long right now, and not as net long as they've been the past 3 times when the price really jumped up. So maybe there's a little bit more weakness ahead. I don't know. I do expect to see the price rise based upon the positioning of the commercials opposite the money managers who are now short. But yeah, I guess to me, it's a bigger picture. The U.S. Mint wouldn't do this to make profit. The U.S. Mint would do it because they were told to do it for a bigger reason. And I think that is where you take optimism. Silver is found in the Earth's core, or the Earth's crust, rather, as in a form called epithermal, which is very, very near the top of the surface. So big deposits were found decades ago. And that's why of the nearly 1 billion ounces mined last year, roughly only 350 million came from companies like Keith's, who are on the search for silver. The majority of the silver comes as a byproduct of mining other metals. So it is a depleting asset that for 5,000 years came out of the ground at 16 to 1, hence the 16 to 1 price. Even when Sir Isaac Newton was trying to figure out the relationship between gold and silver for the currency at the mint, however many hundreds of years ago, he used a 16 to 1 ratio. That's been predominant forever until now. you have a 7-to-1. And if you realize that the average price ratio of the past 100 plus years has been roughly 42-to-1, that's still 6 times higher than what it's coming out of the ground at, which would represent a double from where we are today, from 85-to-1. I think that this is an anomaly in every respect of the word. Anytime you are 80-to-1 or better, you need to be in silver, and this, or even 70-to-1 or better. But this represents an anomaly in every respect, in terms of its geologic relationship to gold, its price relationship to gold, its mining ratio to gold. In every way you look at it, historically and currently, this is an anomaly. And when I look at what has made me successful, there have been a half a dozen trades or more that I would consider to be career making, and every one of them centered around just that: identification and exploitation of price anomalies. Most of the silver applications used in the industry don't lend themselves into economical recycling. That's why gold is recycled and silver isn't, creating a greater and greater and greater deficit over time. And so it's just a matter of time. You will be proven right. It is a matter of time, and I think it's very interesting that you see the largest concentrated short position on any commodity ever traded, or as Ted talks about, why is there all this back and forth trading between the banks in an effort to hold down the price? Why are they holding it down? That's the biggest question that needs to be asked. And the only thing that I could come up with is that they're doing all they can to replenish their stockpiles, because it is a strategic metal. And without it, you're in big trouble. I think it is the most undervalued, underappreciated metal on the planet that continues to experience a massive expansion in its uses. At the same time, it's disappearing geologically. No one's recycling it. If it really is coming out of the ground at 7-to-1, what happens in another few years after all of the silver used in industry is gone and not recycled? Does it become 6-to-1 or 5-to-1 or 4-to-1? And you're the only person I've ever heard say where it will outpace gold in terms of it being a 1-to-3 ratio or whatever, where silver actually has greater value than gold. And who's to say you're wrong? I will tell you that I do believe it is a disappearing asset. The United States government, their geological branch of the US government, came out and said that they would expect it to be the first element struck from the periodic table of elements. And in just a few short years, it'll be all but gone in Mexico in their ground, and all but gone globally in terms of new deposits or supplies, or the amount that we're mining is depleting. So yeah, I don't take fault in what you're saying, and I think you're giving the world a gift, those that will listen.